Hello, boys and girls. Today, Katherine is going to make a meat loaf. This is a very handy recipe. We have made it several times in school before, and it is ideal to serve it cold as a salad meat or just nice and hot for dinner. Make gravy and veg and potatoes and you have a beautiful dinner. Okay, so we'll first of all take a quick look at our utensils. I have here a loaf tin for my meatloaf, and it's a good idea to always put a flat tray underneath it in case it would spill over. Chopping board for chopping our things, a grater for grating some cheese, a small bowl and a fork for beating an egg, my measuring cups and my measuring spoons, a pastry brush, bowl and a fork for beating an egg, my measuring cups and my measuring spoons, a pastry brush, a wooden spoon, a sharp knife, and a big bowl for mixing. And I also have a bowl here on the side for my peels and bits and pieces. It's a good idea to collect them, okay? So I'll leave that there. Then, looking at our ingredients, we're going to use 1.5 cups of mince. We're going to use 4 skinless sausages. We'll take the skin off these. We're going to use 1 egg to mix. We're going to use 1 onion. We're going to use half a red pepper. We're going to use 4 mushrooms. And then we're going to use flavorings. And the flavorings we're going to use are soy sauce, jalapeno relish if you have it, Worcester sauce, a few drops of Tabasco. Instead of the jalapeno relish, I have fire roasted pepper relish. I'm going to use that instead. A meatloaf is a kind of a thing that you can put lots of things into, and the idea is that you might have some leftovers in the fridge that you'd like to put into it as well. So so first I'm going to turn on my oven to 150. Right, so that's a nice slow bake. And then we're going to get our big bowl and we're going to get our ingredients there all mixed together in the bowl. So we have here, I have minced beef here. You take a look at that. You always make sure that your beef is nice and red. That way you know that it's fresh. Okay, so we're going to measure 1.5 cups of meat. Okay, now make sure you have your hands washed, and I often mix a meatloaf. The best way to mix it is with your hands if you want. So we're going to put in the 1.5 cups of mince, press it in like that. Okay, so there you have 1.5, and here we're putting in a half. So you have 1.5 cups of minced, either beef or lamb, if you like. A lamb loaf is really nice too. Right, and if you were just making a big loaf, you could always put in more, but you'd increase all the ingredients. So there we have 1.5 cups of mince in there. Next we're going to put in our sausages. And it says 4 skinless on these. Cut them along the edge like that, okay? And then peel off the skin. And we do the same if we were making sausage rolls. You don't want the skin, pieces of skin in it, okay? Sometimes you can buy skinless ones, which makes it easier, but this is fine too. So you take off your skin. And you put your sausage meat. So now I have my mince and my sausage meat in there. Next, I am going to, I'll put this at the side here so that you can't see it. There's a little bit of clutter going on. Next, I'm going to have half a red pepper. So I'm going to chop that nice and finely. Now, when it's in a meatloaf kind of thing, we want it to bind together, so you don't want big chunks inside it. So we're going to cut our pepper nice and finely. Pick out your inside. We're also going to cut our onion. We're going to put in a full onion, a full medium-sized onion. Onion is great for flavour in meat dishes. And again, cut it nice and finely, because sometimes people don't like a chunk of onion, whereas small pieces they don't even notice. Now some of you will know the meatloaf really well, because you remember we did it for the project Pasture to Plate. I'm trying to remember John and Leah and Ian, that class. Ronan was there. I think Orna might have been there. Anyway, you'll remember yourselves. So you see, I'm cutting it very, very small. And if you're finding this a bit difficult, you can ask an adult to help you just to cut the onion, or you can use one of the choppers like we have in school. Some of you might have one of those. Okay. So I'm just going to put the onion in. Sometimes onion makes you cry, and I can feel my eyes are stinging just a little bit. So you put your bowl back behind out of the way, and I've turned my chopping board over so that it won't, the juice of the onion won't be stinging my eyes. So here I'm onto the red pepper, and you could use any colour pepper for this. So again, nice chopping. Okay, I also have my 4 mushrooms. Now I've already washed them, so wash and dry your mushrooms. Chop it again, chop it up nice and small. Slice your mushroom, legs and all. The legs are perfect as well. Would be different if it was a field mushroom. You might take the legs off, but for ones that are produced like this in the shop, produced in tunnels, they are fine. And the leg is the same as the top. It's just waste to be throwing it away, especially in a meatloaf. So what is a mushroom? Is it a fruit? Don't think so. Is it a vegetable? Don't think so. It's a special thing all on its own. It's called a fungus. And lots of them together are called fungi. Okay, so that's all nice and chopped, and that's going into my bowl as well. Use your knife and go slowly. Try not to spill any of it. Okay. I'm just going to put that back there. So here is my bowl now with all my lovely ingredients in it. See, it's lovely, colourful. It's like that about a meatloaf. It's nice and colourful. Okay, so next we're going to beat our egg. Beat your egg with a fork, and the egg is very good for binding things like meatloaves together. Make sure you get all the egg. Get that out. Okay, so I'm going to go to my sauces now. I'm going to use a tablespoon of soy sauce. Now, if you want this to be gluten-free, you would make sure that you're using gluten-free soy sauce, gluten-free sausages, and you could just do double the soy sauce, because Worcester sauce that I'm putting in now is not gluten-free. So I'm putting in a tablespoon of soy sauce, a tablespoon of Worcester sauce, a tablespoon of, get a spoon for that. Oh, fire roasted peppers. Or the jalapeno sauce if you have it. And if you like a little bit of heat in your meatloaf, put in just a few drops now, and I really mean a few drops. One, two, three, okay? Because that's quite hot, but if you don't like heat, leave it out, okay? So the other thing that goes in is a half cup of water. Half cup of water is the green one, to make it nice and moist, and fill it up to the top, and you have a half cup of water. Now just checking that I have everything in. Yes, so we have everything in there for our meatloaf. Now, if you don't like it on your hands, or you feel your hands mightn't be totally clean, you can use your wooden spoon, okay? I always use my hands, so I'm going to give them a quick wash. Okay, so I'm just going to mix it like that because it is hard to break up your sausage. This is a gorgeous, nutritious meatloaf with nice, good mince in it. Always buy good quality mince. And then you have your veg in there as well. And a nice fresh salad with it is lovely. And it's nice and moist. I'll show it to you now. So you see it's kind of nice and moist. And that will all bind together nicely in the tin. Okay? So I'll just leave it over there. For a second, I'm going to give my hands a wash again. A good cook or a good chef washes their hands very often. Give them a good wash and dry them with a clean tea towel. Normally we dry our hands with a towel, as you know, but when we're cooking, it's okay to use the tea towel because you want everything really clean. Okay, so that's the meatloaf. Now I want to show you the tin. We have a loaf tin here. I'm going to put a tiny bit of oil into the tin, and I mean a tiny bit. And we're going to brush it all around the sides with your pastry brush. All around. Make sure you get every single little piece, okay? Every single corner. So you don't want it to stick, right? And if you want, you don't have to do this. You can just put the meat straight in. But I'm going to put a few rashers along like that, and you can just leave them over this. I'm going to use 4 rashers and go every second one, the fat side on one side, and then the next time the fat side on the other. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. Okay, so continue with your rashers. Right over to the edge. So you see, there are my rashers in my tin. Okay, so that'll give a nice top to your meatloaf now, but you don't have to do that. You can put your meat straight in. So now we're going to put our meat in. And again, I put it in with my hand. And can you see me there? Put it in with my hand. It fills up my loaf tin. You could put it into a narrow casserole dish either if you like. And then I'm going to press it into shape. Now, this is not going to rise or do anything like that. It's going to stay the same shape. So you're going to just press it in, get the air out, press it along like that, and make it all nice and flat. So that's your meatloaf. Okay, time to wash the hands again. And now I'm going to use my oven gloves, and I'm going to put my meatloaf into the oven. And it's going to take about an hour to an hour and a quarter. So here I have just a Yorkshire tin underneath it in case there be any spills, and here I have my oven gloves. And I'm putting it into my oven. Okay, and we'll have a look at it when it comes out of the oven. So that is our meatloaf. Meatloaf has been in for an hour, so we'll take a look and see what it's like. Okay, the beauty of a meatloaf is that, you know, lots of the fat will come out and will be just around the sides. So when you lift out your meatloaf, right, so I just usually turn it upside down on my tray, and that captures the liquid. So there you have it. We'll put it on a plate now. Okay, remember now it's hot, so I'm going to use 2 fish slices, one at either side because I don't want it to break. Oops. And I'm going to put it on one from each end like that. Give it a little shake, and I'm going to put it on to my plate, okay? So remember that your trays are hot. So we're going to put it, and you can see that the water is there, but it has water and fat. Okay? So now the right thing to do is to actually let it settle. If there's a little bit of scum or whatever along it there, you can cut it. But the right thing is to let it settle and tighten up. But I'm just going to cut it for you now so that you'll see what it looks like. Okay. And I'm going to turn it over like that. And you see there's your lovely meatloaf. So you divide that into portions for your dinner, or you leave it go cold and serve it with a salad. So that's your beef meatloaf.